This conference will now be recorded.
Now, so last time we have discussed about the transactions. I need to wait here, Onkar. What happens? Hmm. Uh, hmm. Okay, let me wait for 2 minutes then. So last time we discussed about what transactions, explicit transactions, implicit transactions, auto commit transactions. Plus we also discussed about what if you are having an open transaction and if any other customer comes in and try to access the data from the same table, he will experience what blocking issue, right? Now today let's understand it cursors. Now what is the main purpose of cursors? Cursors are actually used to retrieve the data on a row by row basis. Cursors are actually used to retrieve the data on a row by row basis. Suppose, for example, I can take the table reservation table. Select star from table name reservation. If I execute this statement, what will happen? You can see all the records will be displayed in one shot. Today we are having 8 records, all the 8 records get displayed. Tomorrow if you are having 1,000 records, all the 1,000 records will get displayed. But now the requirement here is I want to retrieve the data on a row by row basis. I want to retrieve first row, then I need to retrieve a second row, then I need to retrieve third row, like that. So what I want, I need to retrieve the data on a row by row basis. This is the requirement, row by row basis. So to retrieve the data on a row by row basis, we need to go for the concept of what cursors. Now, if you read some books online, you will find a message, do not use cursors. You will find something like do not use cursors because cursors are memory intensive. They take more memory, they eat more memory. But if there is no alternate way, we need to go for the concept of what cursors. So let's take one example. Now, before we go for cursors, if you want to use cursors, you need to follow some steps. Step number 1, we need to declare a cursor. Step number 1, we need to declare a cursor. Step number 2, once you declare the cursor, then you need to open the cursor. Step number 3, we need to fetch the data. We need to fetch the data from the cursor into local variables. Local variables. Step number 4, we can do the processing. Once you fetch the data, Whatever processing you want, you can apply your processing. You can write your business logic. Step number 5, close the cursor. And step number 6, deallocate the cursor. So these are the 6 steps we need to go for what cursors. Step number 1, declare a cursor. Step number 2, open the cursor. Step number 3, fetch the data from the cursor into local variables. You can write your business logic, close the cursor and deallocate the cursor. These are the steps we have. Now let me come to first one. So I have a table, select star from table name. I have a table what? Select star from table name. And when I say select star from table name, I am getting the complete data at once, right? Now my requirement is I need to retrieve the data on a row by row basis. So first of all, we need to declare a cursor. How to declare a cursor? I need to say declare. I need to say declare some name. Let's say cursor of type cursor. So I'm declaring a variable of type what cursor. Step number 1. Step number 1. But this cursor that you create, a cursor always associated with a select statement. Whenever you create a cursor, cursor must always associate with a select statement. So I need to say for. I need to say for. So declare some name, type cursor, and I'm associating this cursor to a select statement. I say select star from reservation, any table you can take. This is step number 1. This is step number 1, declaring a cursor. Once a cursor declare, step number 2, open the cursor. Open cursor, step number 2. This is step number 2. Now, what actually happens when this line encounter? When you say open cursor, this select statement will get fired. The select statement associated with the cursor will get fired, and whatever the data retrieved, that data will be available into your cursor variable. So step number 2, when we say open cursor, as soon as you say open cursor, the select statement will get fired and the entire data will be copied into what? This cursor. Okay, fine. Next step. Now I want to fetch the data. Step number 3, fetch cursor into, and you need to specify the local variables. Now here, when we fetch one row, always fetch one row. Always fetch what? One row. So to fetch one row, I can say fetch next from cursor. What is the from cursor? This is my cursor into variables. Now what I am fetching here? I am fetching here aircraft code, number of seats, and class code. So I need to declare 1, 2, and 3 variables. So I can say one variable I will declare for aircraft code, declare a code, type varchar. One variable I can declare for number of seats, I say seats integer. And one variable I will declare for class code, varchar, let's say 10. So how many local variables I created? 3 local variables I created. One for aircraft code, one for number of seats, one for class code. So when we say fetch next from cursor, this row will get collected here into these variables. So I can say into aircraft code, number of seats, and one is variable we say C code. So as soon as this line encounter, this data will be copied here into these variables. Okay, this data will be copied into these variables. Now, once your data get copied into these variables, what next? We can do the processing. We can do the processing. We can do the business logic. Let's say I am doing here print statement. I'm going for print statement. I say aircraft code plus, and here I want to print the aircraft code. Where is my aircraft code? A code. Plus, I want to print the number of seats. Number of seats. Plus, and number of seats is a numerical value, right? So I need to use a function called what? Cast seats, comma, I can say aircraft 10. Plus, I want to display class code. So I can say class code plus C code. So let's say this is my business logic. Once I write my business logic, after that I can close the cursor, close cursor. And finally I can say deallocate cursor. Observe. Finally I say deallocate cursor. So what will happen here? What will happen here? This we are using one time. So this row will be fetched. And this is my business logic where I'm printing this data, right? So if you run this script, you will get first row. Execute A code. A code is not there. Okay, let me execute again. Barke spelling mistake somewhere. Where is the mistake? Here, line 9, we are getting the mistake. Number of seats, cost,
Sir, I think you have entered a C code twice.
Cost as a worker. Now let me check this. Yes. Now see first row we are getting. Observe this. See here. I fetch only one row. So first row is fetched aircraft code, number of seat, class code. Perfect. So what we have done, we are retrieving the data on a row by row basis. But reservation table does not contain only one row. It has more than one row. Na? But right now we are getting only one row. So what we need to do, once you fetch the row, print the data, we need to repeat this statement again and again. Till there is the data present in the cursor. So we need to go for iteration. How to go for iteration? We can use while. How to go for iteration? We can use while. We can use while. And here, if you are having more than one statement, let me go for begin. And let me go for end. After printing the first row, once you get the first row and printing the first row, I need to fetch the next row. So let me use this. Fetch that again. Now this process, this particular block will be repeated again and again till you have the data in the cursor. But how I can check that data is there in the cursor or not? So for that we can use one environmental variable. How to use environmental variable? Double act. And here we have environmental variable called fetch status. What is the environmental variable we have? Fetch status. If fetch status returns a value 0, it means more data is available in the cursor. So I say I am writing a condition, check fetch status equal to 0. If condition satisfied, means you have the data in the cursor and we need to continue the iteration. See, if there is no data available in the cursor, fetch status returns other than a 0, control will come out of the while. So these statements which are written between while, these statements which are written in while, they will be executed again and again, till the data is available in the cursor. So earlier you are getting the result for only one row. Now let me execute the complete script. Now you see I am getting the data for all the rows. Now you see one by row, one by one, we are fetching the data. How we are fetching the data? On a row by row basis. On a what? Row by row basis. One row at a time. One row at a time. This is the purpose of what cursors. So cursors are used for what purpose? To fetch the data on a row by row basis. But here it is not important, right? Simply what we are doing, we are displaying the result only. Only the way of displaying is different, right? We are having the heading, just we are having the heading, that's it. Rest of the program is same, no? Rest of the program or rest of the script is same. So where you can use cursors, question is this now. Where in the real time you need to use cursors? Program is fine here. We are fetching one row at a time and we are displaying the result. So here what we are using, fetch next, first row, printed the first row. Second row will be fetched, again printed second row. Third row fetched, printed third row, so on till there is a data in the cursor. How to check the status of the cursor? Fetch status. We have an environmental variable called what? Fetch status. Now, but where actually we can use cursors, let me take a requirement. Now requirement is what? We need to retrieve all tables. We need to retrieve all tables and count the number of rows for each table. This is the requirement. And count the number of rows for each table. This is my requirement. So suppose this is the requirement given to you. How to do this? First of all, retrieve all tables. So this is simple, right? We know how to retrieve all tables. And count the number of rows for each table. Count the number of rows for each table. If you want to retrieve the list of all the tables, what command we can write? What SQL query we can write? If we have to retrieve the list of all the tables, what SQL query we have?
Select star from
Select star from sys dot tables, right?
tables. Yes.
Select star from sys dot tables. This is the query. With this query, we are going to get the list of all the tables. These are the list of all the tables. Observe. See. Okay. And even when you say star, star will give you all columns. I do not want all columns. So simply you can say what? I'm interested only on one column. So select name from sys dot tables and you will get the names of all the tables. So this is fine. This is okay. But now the requirement is for each table, I need to count the number of rows. For each table, I need to count the number of rows. So first table, how many records are there in this table? I need to display. Then second table, I need to count the number of rows and I need to display. Then third row and so on. So it means what I need to do here. If I simply say select name from sys.table, we are going to get all the table names at once. But now we need to keep track and we need to take one table at a time. We need to write our business logic to count the number of rows and then we need to proceed further one by one till the data is available or till all the particular tables in your what here database. Which database which it is using? Country selected database. See. So in this situation, we need to fetch one row and we need to do the processing. Second row, we need to do the processing. So here we need to take the help of what? Cursors. Okay, let me write the cursor now. Observe. Step number one. What is step number one? Declare cursor. So I say declare. Let me give a name, DB cursor. Type cursor. Every cursor is associated with a select statement. So let me associate this cursor with the select statement. Step number one completed. Step number one completed. See this. So I declare one cursor and I map the cursor to sys.tables. Select statement. Step number one completed. Second step, open. Third step, fetch. Next, from cursor into what? Local variable. What we are fetching here, guys? What we are fetching here? Name. So when you say fetch next, this name will be fetched. What is this name? Table name. So I can create one local variable to get this name. I say declare @table name varchar. Size I do not know. So I can say max. Size I do not know. I say max. Now this name I can collect here. Right? Clear now? So fetch next from cursor into this. So when this statement encounter, what will happen? This name will get stored where? In this local variable. Okay, now you got the table name. Now we need to count the number of rows. How to count the number of rows? Guys, do not sit idle. Now we need to count the number. I got the table name. Table name is available in this local variable. Now the second step, we need to count the number of rows. Now tell me how to count the number of rows.
Count to star of @table name.
Yes, so we need to write a query. Okay, so let me create one variable. I say declare. I can create one variable query varchar. Size I do not know. I can say max. Now write the query. To write the query, what is the clause we need to use? Set, right? Set query. What is my query?
Select
Select count of star. Count of star as count
from @table name. Tab underscore name.
So we need to use plus table name, right?
Yeah.
This is the query. So I say select count as what? Row count. Let me say row count from table name. Perfect. I have the query. Now we need to run this query. Now we created the query and we created the query what? What type of query it is? Dynamic query, na? What type of query it is? Dynamic query. Now you need to run this dynamic query. How to run a dynamic query? How to run dynamic SQL? How to run dynamic SQL? Guys, you have not practiced the earlier sessions. In very detail, we discussed one stored procedure sp underscore execute SQL, right? So we need to say exec sp underscore execute SQL. What is the stored procedure? This is the stored procedure we need to use sp underscore execute SQL. What we need to run? We need to run this query. So let me pass this query. Okay, right? Query fired. Now next what we need to do? Close cursor. Deallocate cursor. Okay, fine. So this is the script. So now One thing you remember, when we use sp underscore execute SQL, what is the prerequisite of sp underscore execute SQL? What is the prerequisite of sp underscore execute SQL? The query must be Unicode, right? Query must be Unicode. How to make the query Unicode? I need to make it what? I need to prefix it with what? N, right? Unicode. And if you are making the query Unicode, let me make it what? N varchar. N means Unicode. N means Unicode. Now everything is fine. Now let me execute the script. When observe here carefully this line. When this line encounter this table name emp detail store will be collected here. For emp detail store, we are counting the number of rows in a table. Got it? Okay. Let me select the script, say execute, and you see we are getting the row count. It means how many rows are there in the emp detail store? 2 rows, and we are getting 2 rows. Everything is fine, but the thing is this is happening only for 1 row. This is happening only for 1 row, but actually when we say select name from sys.table, we have a number of tables. So I need to go for all the rows. So what I need to do here now, I need to go for iteration. So I can say
While
@ what is the environmental variable?
fetch status
Equal to 0.
to
I
0.
need to say begin. I can go for end.
Correct.
Now this statement, everything will be fine. After that, I need to fetch the next row again. I can go here and let me fetch the next row again. Now this process will be repeated again and again till you have the data, you have the table name in the cursor. When there will be no table name in the cursor, condition will be false. Control jumps here, cursor will be closed, and cursor will be removed from the memory permanently. Right? Now let me try. So earlier you are getting the row count for only 1 table, this table. Now let me execute. Now you observe here, I am getting the number of rows for each table. See here. Yes, I am getting the number of rows for each and every table. But one problem here. Output is misguiding to you because you do not know now for which table you are getting the row count. We are getting only row count for the table, that's fine. But for which particular table you are getting the row count, that I do not know. So more better if you print the table name also. More better if you print the table name also. Where? Here in the select statement. We are getting count of as fine, but I want a table name also. How you will get table name now? Problem here is this statement is already in the single quotation. Suppose for example, if I say like this, select AB, select 10, then what you will get? You will get 10. Clear? If I say select ABC, then what you will get? You will get ABC, no problem. But ABC should be here. Your select statement is in single quotation. But here you are not getting any single quotation. See this? How you will get the single quotation here? I want ABC in single quote now. I want ABC in a single quote now. So to print the single quote, I need 2 more single quote. So like this we need to do, and you can see the result. Now you are getting a single quote. So 3 single quote is equal to 1 single quote. In select statement, 3 single quote is equal to 1 single quote. Okay. Now let me come here. Now we need to modify this. So how you can modify? select. I want table name, single quote, single quote, single quote, C single quote. Now I want to print a table name. So C single quote plus what?
@_ name.
Table name. Plus I can close this single quote, single quote, single quote. S, and let me give a alias table name. See this. So in the select statement, you observe this is the we are adding here. This is we are adding here. So why we are using C single quote? Because C single quote is equal to one single quote in the output. C single quote is equal to one single quote in the output. Okay, this is very clear. Now let me remove this line. I do not want this line. Now select the script. Exit. Okay, 1 minute. Select the complete script. Execute. Now you see more better. Now see, we are getting table name. Table name EMP details store. How many rows are there? Table name flight. How many rows? 4. Table name reservation. How many rows? 8. Now you can see here better. So where you can use a cursor, this is what the situation. So such a type of situations where you need to fetch the data on a row by row basis, we need to go for cursors. No other way. No other way. Even though cursors are memory intensive, occupy more memory, no other way. We need to go for what? Cursors. Right? So observe, and here you observe this already we are well known. This already we are well known. SP underscore execute SQL. Okay, this already we are well known. So whenever you frame a dynamic query, how to run a dynamic query, this is what we have. Okay, right? Anybody have any question here? Please read this. All of you, please read the script. I will wait here. So whenever you need to retrieve the data on a row by row basis, we need to go for what? Cursors. Now, next, see, if you observe here, when we say fetch next, what is the meaning? Next row. When we say fetch next, what is the meaning? Next row means we are going to fetch next row. Now, sometime not only we need to fetch next row, we need to fetch previous row also. Possible. By default, whenever you use cursors always run in forward direction. By default, cursors always run in what? Forward direction. Means here we have a word called forward only. Forward only. This is by default. If you are writing forward only, it is okay. If you are not writing forward only, this is default. Forward only means cursor is going to fetch the data only in the forward direction. That's it. Sometimes a situation arises, you need to fetch the data in the reverse direction. Right? So if you want to fetch the data bidirectionally, forward as well as backward, then you need to use one word called scroll. What is the word we have? Scroll. Default is forward only. Remember, default is forward only. We need to go for scroll if you want to work bidirectional. Okay, so forward only, and you can go forward scroll. To fetch the data, to fetch next row, what we say? Fetch next. Fetch next from so on. Now, how to fetch the previous row? If you want to fetch the previous row, then you need to say fetch prior. What you need to say? Fetch prior, fetch prior. If you want to fetch first row, only first row, then you need to say first. If you want to fetch last row, then you need to say last. Observe. If you want to go for absolute number, then you can say fetch absolute n. And also you can use relative n. See. Clear now? So default is fetch next. Observe here, default is forward only and default is fetch next. If you want to work on fetch prior, fetch first, fetch last, fetch absolute, fetch relative, then you need to go for scroll. Okay, you need to make the use of what? Scroll. Now let's take one example. I will take a requirement. My requirement is I need to retrieve all tables and I want to count number of rows of each table. Now in reverse order. Observe here. What I say, reverse order. So retrieve all tables and count the number of rows of each table in reverse order. So right now we are using this. Right now we have used this, and when we have used this, we are getting the data in the forward directional, table 1, table 2, table 3, and number of rows. Now I want reverse direction. So what changes I need to do? First of all, what is the default word we have? Forward only. Instead of forward only, I need to say scroll. Now reverse direction means last to first. Right? So first I need to fetch the last row in this select statement. In this select statement, I need to fetch the last row. What is the last row? This is the last row. So first I need to fetch this. Then I need to fetch one row previous, like that. So here I need to say fetch last. Right? I need to say fetch last. Last row fetched. Then control comes here. After that, we need to fetch one row previous. So here I need to use what? Prior. I need to go for prior. So if you want your cursor to work bi-directional way, two changes. Number one, instead of forward only, we need to say scroll. Fetch the last row. And how to get the previous row? Prior. We need to say prior. Right? Now let me check. Now execute. Yes. Now you see last two first we are getting. Last table was just table. We are getting this table as the first table. See this? Reverse direction. And you can see last row we are getting EMP details store. How easy it is. So we can use the cursors in the forward direction. We can use cursors in the reverse direction. Default is forward only. And we are going for scroll. Clear guys? Understood? Any question from anyone? Now, suppose I have this list of tables. I'm getting 20 tables. Now I do not want to fetch all the 20 tables. Suppose. Now my requirement is what? I need to retrieve all the tables. I need to count the number of rows of each table, or number of rows for every third row, every third row in a table. This is my requirement. Now how to do this? I want to retrieve all tables, that's fine. And I need to count the number of rows for every third row in a table. So what it means? It means that first we need to fetch this row, count the number of rows. Then I do not have to take these two tables. Every third row, then we need to take this. We will not take this two, and it will take this one. Like that I need to do. Okay, every third row. Now come here. First of all, we need to say first. We do not want to go in the reverse direction first. Okay, this is fine. Now after fetching first row, two rows we need to skip. So here, after two rows skip, control comes here. Then two rows skip, control comes here. So we need to say here what? Relative. Relative what? 3. What we are saying? Relative. Fetch a relative 3. Relative means what? From the current cursor position. From the current cursor position, third row will be what fetched. Okay. This is the meaning. So what changes we have done? Scroll is fine. Here we need to say first, and here we need to say what? Relative 3. Relative 3. Now let me go here, execute. Yes, perfect. Perfect. See here. First row, then two rows skipped, then this row, then two rows skipped, new table, then two rows skipped, and you can see the result. So purpose of cursors is what? To fetch the data on a row by row basis. To fetch the data on a row by a row basis. That is the purpose of what cursors. Okay. Any question from anyone? So you must know where is the utility of cursors. Lot of people say do not use cursors. Yes, cursors are memory intensive, that's fine. But if you want to find out this type of solution, no other way than cursor. So whenever you want to fetch the data on a row by row basis, yes, we need to go for what? Cursors, no other way. Okay, right? Now I will give you an exercise. You can try that. See, suppose you are a DBA. You join in a company as a DBA. And what is your daily requirement? At the end of the day, daily at the end of the day, whatever the databases you have, you need to take the backup of all the databases except system databases. You need to take the backup of all the databases except system databases. Do not go for the backup of system databases, master, model, MSDB, TempDB. But other than that, I need to take the backup. This is my requirement. Now, if you want to take the backup of one database, you can write a command. To backup, what command you can write? You can write a command, backup database name. Let's say Northwind. 2. Where you want to take the backup? On a file. So I need to say disk equal to, and where you want to take the backup, you need to provide the location and the name. Let's say, for example, I have one backups folder. Let me take the backup at this location. So I provide the location, and by what name you want to take the backup. Let's say same name I want. Let's say Northwind dot, and we are taking a backup dot .bak. What will be the extension to the file? .bak. BAK means backup. You can give any extension, not a problem. But what we people know, BAK stands for what? Backup. So this is the way you can take a backup of a database. Simple. Backup database command, backup database name to disk equal to, and you can take the backup. Select it. Let me execute this. And you see backup is going on. Backup database successfully processed. You can go to the location and you can see we got a backup file just now, 7:54 p.m. just now. Okay, fine, this is okay. But problem here is what? In my server there are number of databases, not only one database. If you have only one database, you can go for this command, perfect. But what happens in the real time? You are having 100 databases. What happens in the real time? You are having 1,000 databases. Would you like to repeat these statements 1,000 times for each and every database? You can do that. You can do that, but it is a time consuming job. And every time, every day you need to perform the same job. The only thing is, might be someday some more databases added, someday some databases are not available, then you need to cross check each and every, and you need to write the backup for each and every database again and again and again. So this is not the right way. So what is the solution? Solution is you need to read these databases. You need to read these database names one by one. Once you get the database name, then you need to fire the backup command on that database at a specific location. At a specific location. Location we have defined already. Let's say this is the location, right? Clear, only the name you need to append. Only the name you need to append, right? So what you need to write a script. You need to write a script to back up all the databases present on the server except system databases. Do not go for system databases. Okay, this you need to do. So what you need to take here? You need to take the concept of cursors. Here you need to go for the concept of what? Cursors. Got the requirement? So write a SQL script to back up all the databases except system databases. Write a SQL script to back up all the databases except system databases. Except system databases. Now you can see here, if you do not know system databases, you can see these are the system databases. Do not take the backup of them. How you will get the list of all the databases, guys? What is the command we have? Select star from, quick, select star from sys dot, just revise the
Database.
this sys dot databases. But here one problem, when you say select star from sys dot databases, you will get all the databases, but you will get system databases also. Okay, I need to take the backup of these databases, not for system databases. So you need to write a query in such a way you should not get system databases, remember. And then you need to take the backup of all the databases. Okay, you can try this. So cursor is very useful, very important. Okay, whenever you need to retrieve the data on a row by row basis, yes, we need to go for the concept of what? Cursors. Okay, I will share the script to all of you. All right, okay, try this and let me know if you have any questions. So transactions we completed and cursors we completed. Okay, now one important concept is still pending: indexes. We have not discussed. So hope most probably in the next class I will go for the concept of what indexes. Okay. Chaliye, thank you all of you. And guys, see, I was waiting here in the new link. So from now onwards, please use the new link only to join the meeting. Okay. Chaliye, see you on tomorrow, all of you.